He died and nobody. He came back with the power to change everything. This is Reality Quest. The scene shifted to early morning. Do-wan prepared his uniform meticulously for the first day of 12th grade. Determined to arrive before anyone else to set up his computer equipment at his new desk. Arriving at the classroom, he was startled to find someone had beaten him there. Trying to be quiet, he accidentally made a noise and apologized. He glanced at the other student's ID, which read Hainan from Shernan High School. He recognized the name instantly. Kian had warned him that Hainan, the representative of Salim Dong, was the most dangerous bully in the Gwanak District Council. Terrified, Do-wan began to shake. Unsung casually told him not to be afraid since they were both representatives now. However, Unsung mused that dealing with Do-wan right then and there might be the best idea. Panicking, Do-wan argued that council members shouldn't fight since they were on the same side. Hainan coldly corrected him, stating that clashes between members were completely allowed and that power rankings were everything. He lifted Do-wan effortlessly, causing him to cry out in pain. Just as Do-wan accepted his impending death. Unsung dropped him, casually stating he didn't actually care and confirming they were on the same side. Unsung headed for the door, promising to spread the word so no one from Salim Dong would ever touch him. Do-wan slumped into his chair, breathing a massive sigh of relief that he hadn't soiled himself on the first day of class. He suddenly realized Hainan wasn't even in his class and wondered why the terrifying bully had been waiting for him. During the breaks, he noticed his classmates were behaving strangely. Instead of the usual chaos, they were playing peacefully. At lunch, he sat blankly, realizing no one had forced him to grind video games for them. The entire classroom was eerily peaceful. Walking the halls, he observed the brutal reality in other classrooms, where bullies terrorized the weak to establish dominance. He witnessed a student violently thrown out of a room. Confirming that schools operated on the savage law of the jungle where everyone fought to be king. In the restroom, he lamented the cruelty of his peers. A voice called his name. And he turned to see Shin Jamin, the bully he had fought at the karaoke bar. Fearing retaliation, Do-wan braced himself. But Jamin excitedly grabbed his hand, warmly congratulating him on becoming the Boraim Dong representative and asking if he was close with Unsung. Thoroughly confused by the sudden respect, Do-wan questioned the attitude shift. Jamin quickly made an excuse about self-study time and bolted, leaving Do-wan wondering if the guy had hit his head. Returning to his peaceful classroom, he accepted his new reality. Hainan's protection had granted him the quiet school life he always desired. Yet, instead of crying tears of joy, he felt restless. He realized the system hadn't just forced him to fight bullies. It had methodically elevated him to an official council position. He questioned the system's true purpose, wondering if it was using him or just taking pity on his miserable life. A sweet voice broke his train of thought. A girl named Juan approached, noticing he wasn't playing games. And offered him a gift box as a thank you for saving her. Thrilled, Do-wan thought God was finally rewarding him. He opened the box expecting chocolate. But recoiled in horror at a slimy, living octopus. Juan innocently explained that live octopus was excellent for recovery. Hiding his disgust, he accepted the squirming gift, praising its beating heart. Their moment was ruined by a red-haired bully who abruptly demanded Do-wan grind a game for him. Juan asked if it was a friend, and Do-wan firmly said no. Meanwhile, in a dark room, a group analyzed photos of Do-wan. They questioned why Unsung had shaken hands with someone who cowered in fear instead of fighting back. Unsung argued that Do-wan's recklessness hid something special, refusing to explain further and insisting they would find out when they faced him. Back in class, Do-wan stood up, fueled by resentment over his ruined moment with Juan. He marched up to the red-haired bully. And ordered him to stand. In another room, Unsung showed a photo to a tattooed boy. Predicting a good show since the crazy So-woo was in Do-wan's class. Do-wan acted tough, waving his phone and dropping Unsung's name, refusing to grind games like a dog. So-woo, a council member, aggressively confronted him. Do-wan maintained his bluff, threatening to tell Unsung. Intimidated by the connection, So-woo backed down, apologizing and taking his phone back. Relieved, Do-wan swore to show Juin his masculine side more often. At lunch, Do-wan tried to find Juin. But a new friend named Jihan grabbed his arm, warning him that his actions with So-woo were incredibly dangerous. Jihan explained that while So-woo was usually calm and ignored class politics, he possessed a violent trigger. He would snap if anyone blocked his path. In the cafeteria, So-woo accidentally bumped into a third-year student who arrogantly refused to let him pass. True to the warning, So-woo instantly attacked the senior with terrifying speed, brutalizing him for daring to block his way. Walking home, Do-wan reflected on So-woo's speed and the rumors of a dark past in the track and field club. He figured he just needed to avoid blocking So-woo's path to survive the year. The system immediately betrayed him, issuing a sprint quest to overtake So-woo within 10 minutes. Furious at the relentless system, Do-wan realized he had to track down the violent speedster. He heard a weak plea for help and found So-woo brutally beating a student for accidentally running into him. Disgusted by the bully's arrogance, Do-wan decided to teach him a lesson in etiquette. The system completed the previous quest and dumped a massive reward on him, 1 gold key and 4 bronze keys. The system warned that the bunch of keys had to be used consecutively or they would be destroyed. Forced to upgrade quickly in an alleyway, he used the gold key to unlock a low mana skill called Poke into the Gap, which allowed for superhuman speed attacks. He used a bronze key to increase his MP by 100. Realizing he couldn't match So-woo's natural speed, he dumped the remaining keys into boosting his raw attack power. He intercepted So-woo at a bus stop, preventing him from attacking a girl. The system issued an all-out battle quest. Utilizing his new skill, Do-wan struck first, drawing blood and sending So-woo into a rage. Do-wan sprinted away to create distance, but So-woo caught up instantly. Do-wan tripped him with a bag strap, but the bully recovered quickly, dropping his heavy backpack to unleash his full speed. Do-wan was tossed into the air by a rapid succession of strikes. Desperate, he spammed his new skill, but So-woo easily read the movements. Shifting tactics, Do-wan decided to treat the fight like a video game, analyzing So-woo's attack patterns. He realized So-woo always followed a dodge with a rapid counterpunch. Deliberately provoking the bully, Do-wan absorbed a devastating kick to the chin, leaving him sprawled on the ground, his body refusing to listen. Checking his system window, he realized he could target different weak points. When So-woo wound up for a sky kick, Do-wan struck the bully's heel, causing massive pain and proving his gaming theory right. To execute his final strike, he needed to blind his opponent. He remembered the live octopus Juin had given him, which had been hiding in his hoodie. He threw the slimy creature directly onto So-woo's head. Panicking and blinded by the ink, So-woo was left completely vulnerable. Do-wan executed a brutal headbutt, sending the track star crashing to the ground unconscious. Exhausted and out of stamina, Do-wan claimed his hard-fought victory. The system quickly announced that the strategic battle quest was completed, granting him a bunch of keys as his hard-earned reward. Looking at the virtual items dropping onto the ground, Do-wan felt a wave of disappointment, questioning if a simple bunch of keys was truly the highest level reward for such a grueling encounter. Extreme fatigue washed over his entire body as he realized his stamina was rapidly depleting. He remembered fainting the last time he burned through all his energy, fearing what So-woo would do in retaliation if he woke up while Do-wan was unconscious. Desperate for a quick solution, he decided to consume one of the keys to instantly restore his vitality. The effect was immediate, with the system unlocking an ability stat that permanently increased his HP by 500, bringing his current total up to 51 out of 1500. Do-wan shouted with pure joy, declaring to the empty street that he had actually survived the ordeal. Realizing he was required to use all the remaining keys in the bunch consecutively, he opted to use the coveted gold key first. The system unlocked a dedicated active protection skill that required a massive 200 mana, allowing him to swing his fists continuously in a devastating barrage to inflict severe damage. He was ecstatic, feeling like he was going crazy because he had been waiting so long for an aggressive skill exactly like this. Despite the heavy man attacks, he used the next bronze key to increase his MP pool by 100, confident that dumping the final key into even more mana would balance the scales. Acknowledging that the live octopus had miraculously saved his life by blinding So-woo, he decided he couldn't possibly eat it and resolved to take it home as a pet. He planned to name it Kyo in honor of Juin, who had given it to him. However, his plans were derailed when he noticed a stray cat dragging the helpless octopus away into the shadows. He immediately sprinted after the feline, loudly calling out Kyo's name as the sky grew completely dark. Staring at an empty portrait slot for his lost pet, Do-wan could only offer a sad apology to Juin for failing to protect the octopus. A sudden phone call rudely interrupted his emotional morning. He quickly answered, greeting his mother. She warmly asked how the first day of his second year went, entirely unaware that her son had just barely survived a brutal street fight. When he hinted at his deep exhaustion, she calmly assumed he was simply tired from rigorous studying, sympathizing with his academic struggles. Slipping into a slightly spoiled tone, Do-wan noted that she must be exhausted too, considering she was always traveling for business, and asked where she was currently located. She casually replied that she was currently working in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, causing Do-wan to marvel at her impressive itinerary. Before hanging up, she gently reminded him to eat well and solemnly noted that tomorrow was the anniversary of his father's death. The reminder choked him up, but he softly confirmed that he remembered the date. His mother apologized that her schedule was too busy to visit the memorial, asking him to go in her place. He promised to do so, telling her to rest assured before they ended the call. Staring at an old childhood photo taken with his parents at a shaded resting place, tears violently stung the corners of his eyes. Trying to push past the sudden wave of intense grief, he stretched his arms and loudly announced that he needed to eat a massive bowl of rice, ironically wondering why he was suddenly craving stir-fried octopus. Meanwhile, on an unfinished floor of a desolate construction site, a highly tense conversation was unfolding. A thug summarized that their member, So-woo, had gotten entirely riled up, picked a fight with the Boreum-dong representative, and ultimately suffered a humiliating defeat. A subordinate standing nearby nodded nervously, confirming the disastrous outcome. The speaker, DBC Chang, the vice representative of Bangchon-dong, expressed deep irritation, reminding everyone that he had explicitly ordered them not to cause unnecessary drama in enemy territory. He complained that if the higher-ups found out about a violent conflict between Bangchon-dong and Boreum-dong, it would cause massive political trouble for their faction. He venomously insulted So-woo, calling him a show-off who was abandoned by his father, claiming he only accepted the blockhead into their ranks out of pity. DBC Chang wondered aloud if So-woo was acting out because he missed his glory days in track and field, or if he was still hung up on his family trauma, expressing absolute disgust for such obsessive habits. Determined to squash the issue before it escalated, he ordered a subordinate named Ace Hawk to go find this Do-wan kid and drag him to the construction site for a personal, violent meeting. The next morning at school proceeded like any other until a classmate pointed out that So-woo hadn't shown up to class. The student joked that So-woo hardly seemed like the type to prioritize attendance anyway. But Do-wan felt a sharp twinge of guilt, secretly wondering if the track star was absent because of the severe beating he had handed him yesterday. Other classmates callously wished So-woo would drop out entirely, but Do-wan tried to focus on the silver lining. With So-woo temporarily out of commission, he could finally enjoy a peaceful, bully-free school life. That peace was instantly shattered when a panicked student rushed into the classroom, screaming that a group of strange thugs had bypassed security and were actively hunting for Do-wan. The frantic student demanded to know what kind of mess Do-wan had caused to draw such heat. Before he could even formulate an answer, loud, aggressive voices echoed from the hallway, confirming they had located Class 113. The leader of the intruders violently threatened a student in the hall, demanding to know if this was the right room. Do-wan tried to act tough, loudly asking who was looking for him. Ace Hawk stepped into the room, immediately recognizing his target from the descriptions. Surprisingly, Ace Hawk approached with a gentle, calculated demeanor, respectfully greeting him as Senior Do-wan. The excessive politeness from a rival school thug confused Do-wan, making him suspect these were high-ranking enforcers. He nervously stammered, asking why they were looking for him and what he had supposedly done wrong to warrant an ambush. Ace Hawk earnestly requested that Do-wan follow them back to Bangchon-dong. Internally, Do-wan knew that agreeing to follow a gang of hostile thugs to a rival territory was a guaranteed death sentence. Relying on his 18 years of survival instincts as a self-proclaimed failure, he flatly refused the invitation. Aishak's friendly facade dropped instantly, replaced by pure malice. He powerfully declared that he would drag the senior out of the school by force if necessary. Aishak pointedly noted that he had brought 10 hardened men with him, asking if Do-wan honestly believed he could fight them all alone. Do-wan stared blankly, his mind racing as he realized fighting 10 guys simultaneously was mathematically impossible and desperately searched the classroom for an escape route. Before the situation could escalate into a brawl, a cold voice cut through the tension. Demanding to know what the Bangchan-dong gang was doing trespassing on their turf. Aishak was visibly shocked to see Haenan Unsung standing imposingly in the doorway. One of Aishak's arrogant companions tried to show off for his crew, insulting Unsung and asking if the newcomer was blind. Unsung didn't hesitate or issue a warning. He instantly moved to punish the thug who dared to interrupt him, delivering a brutal strike that dropped the fierce-looking gang member to the floor, leaving him screaming miserably as he clutched his broken leg. Do-wan watched in sheer astonishment as the terrifying thug was neutralized in a single, effortless kick. Unsung leveled a cold glare at Aishak, explicitly warning him that dragging Do-wan away was simply not an option. He flipped Aishak's earlier threat back on him, asking if the invader honestly believed that just 10 guys were enough to beat the reigning representative of Salim-dong. Another thug tried to play the hero, rushing forward with a curse. But Unsung swiftly countered with a devastating punch that swelled the attacker's mouth like a balloon. Unsung remained perfectly composed, without a single scratch on his pristine uniform. A larger thug hoisted a heavy wooden chair, swinging it down violently toward Unsung's head with a scream of rage. Unsung dodged the attack with minimal effort, utilizing a light deflection that sent the massive attacker crashing heavily into the concrete wall. The fat thug scrambled backward in sheer terror under Unsung's indifferent gaze, begging the monster to stay away. Unsung mockingly pointed out that it was foolish to initiate a fight in such a narrow passageway without checking their blind spots. He flowed smoothly around their clumsy encirclement, launching a soaring kick that decimated their ranks, casually complaining that the intruders were far too annoying to deal with. Aishak stood safely in the distance, his eyes burning with extreme anger as he watched his elite men get systematically dismantled. Unsung casually invited the rest of the gang to rush him all at once to save time. They foolishly obliged, and in a matter of seconds, every single one of them was tossed through the air like discarded ragdolls. Do-wan felt like he was losing his mind, absolutely floored by Unsung's ability to effortlessly dispatch 9 people simultaneously without breaking a sweat. He recalled that taking on multiple opponents at once was considered the absolute most dangerous training exercise in the council, yet Unsung made it look like a mild warm-up routine. Noticing Aishak lingering by the door and preparing to film the carnage, Unsung turned his attention to Do-wan. He loudly ordered Do-wan to deal with the final intruder, reminding him to clean up the mess neatly. Aishak stubbornly refused to yield, declaring that they wouldn't let this slide and promising a long war with Bangchan-dong. Unsung completely ignored the threat, turning his back on the carnage and casually inviting Do-wan to grab food at the cafeteria. Once they were seated, Do-wan expressed his deep gratitude but couldn't help wondering why the notorious Salim-dong representative was suddenly taking his side. Unsung nonchalantly replied that he simply felt like helping out, though Do-wan secretly rejoiced at having such a powerful ally. Unsung casually lobbed a question that nearly made Do-wan choke on his food. Unsung wanted to know how someone who seemed so incredibly lucky naturally fell into a representative position on the bullying council, and more importantly, why he had felt it necessary to directly challenge So-woo from the Bangchan faction. Sweating bullets. Do-wan scrambled for a believable answer, briefly considering making a joke about being a bully hunter, but he quickly discarded the idea. He decided surrender was the safest option, but to his absolute bewilderment, Unsung just burst out laughing, calling the entire situation genuinely interesting. Do-wan was left completely in the dark, extremely tense and waiting for the Bangchan gang's inevitable retaliation. Fortunately, several days passed without a single incident or system quest, granting Do-wan a rare, blissful weekend. Desperate to unwind, he headed straight for the local PC bang to grind some games. listening to nearby players complain about their outdated virtual equipment and the need to recharge their accounts with real money. Do-wan smiled knowingly. He remembered feeling exactly the same way, deeply jealous of premium gear and realizing that swiping a credit card was always faster than manual farming. His peaceful gaming session was interrupted by a familiar voice asking to confirm his noodle order. Do-wan whipped his head around, shocked to see Jun standing there in an employee uniform. She calmly explained that she was only working part-time because her father was the director of the internet cafe. Do-wan's eyes practically turned into hearts as he immediately fantasized about becoming the future son-in-law of a PC bang owner. Before he could shoot his shot, Jun panicked about another order and scrambled away. A commotion nearby immediately drew his attention. A group of older teenagers had hijacked a younger kid's computer while he was away from the desk, mercilessly stealing all of the kid's hard-earned virtual items. Jun rushed over, deeply concerned by the boy's frantic cries for help, and wondered what kind of terrible people would steal digital items. Do-wan stepped up to investigate, asking the thieves if they had seen anything, but they naturally played dumb. The young victim tearfully begged Do-wan for help. Just as Do-wan realized the severity of the situation, the system pinged with a brand new objective. Quest alert, eliminate the thieves. The system ordered him to track down and eliminate the 4 thieves who had stolen the items, offering a light silver key as a reward. Defeating 4 people simultaneously seemed impossible compared to his previous one-on-one fights, but the system tipped the scales by revealing a hidden bonus reward, a guaranteed date with Jun. Tracking the thieves into the nearby neighborhood. The gang of 4 was busy calculating their illicit profits, planning to sell the stolen digital goods on an item bay to buy alcohol. Do-wan ambushed them, declaring that trampling on a newcomer's gaming dreams was an unforgivable sin. He struck the first thief with a devastating blow that felt like it fell from the heavens, causing instant panic among the remaining 3 as their friend collapsed. Fueled by the prospect of a date, Do-wan's fighting spirit skyrocketed. He patted the crying kid on the head, promising to handle the situation before the boy's noodles got soggy. Grabbing his jacket, he sprinted out of the internet cafe. Recognizing that he couldn't fight them all at once, Do-wan immediately turned and ran, luring them into a high-speed chase through the streets. He ducked into a vacant dead-end alley. The pursuing thieves arrived moments later, entirely baffled by his sudden disappearance and suspecting he had hidden inside a nearby barrel. They had no idea Do-wan was perched silently on the roof directly above them. Utilizing his superior strength, he dropped down and effortlessly knocked out the second thief, prompting the system to confirm that 2 were down. The remaining 2 thieves panicked, realizing this was no ordinary high school student. Do-wan confidently flexed his status, revealing himself as the Boraim Dong representative and letting the fear sink in. When one of them lunged forward in desperation, Do-wan utilized his penetrate the gap skill, striking the thief precisely in the throat, and leaving him gasping for air. With only 1 thief left, Do-wan applied strict video game logic to the brawl. He cornered the final target against a wall, declaring it was time to go hunting. Unleashing a storm of rapid-fire punches, he battered the thief into submission. The system ticked up the defeat count, but the sheer volume of fighting began to drain his stamina. He worried that treating real-world violence exactly like a video game was dangerous and might cost him his humanity. The battered thieves begged for their lives, promising to return all the stolen digital items and swearing they would never steal again. Seeing their pathetic state, Do-wan felt a flicker of mercy. He ordered them to return the items to the PC bang and formally apologize, threatening to beat them to death if they ever relapsed. Delivering one final, wind-tearing kick to complete the objective, the system confirmed the quest was officially over. He triumphantly held up his ultimate reward, the silver light key. With the thugs thoroughly disciplined and terrified, Do-wan's focus shifted entirely to the hidden reward waiting for him back at the internet cafe. Returning to the PC bang, Jun showered him with gratitude, admitting that the theft could have resulted in the business being temporarily suspended. She offered to treat him to a meal as a massive thank you. Blushing furiously, Do-wan rushed home to change into a better outfit, his mind spinning with excitement that he was actually going on a date with Jun. While changing, his mind drifted to a childhood memory. Back in elementary school, Juin had been a terrifying boss figure who ruthlessly protected bullied kids. He remembered taking a punch to the stomach to defend a girl. An act that had greatly amused the young Juin. They had lost touch after that, but fate had magically brought them back together in high school. Snapping back to reality. He joined Juin, who had dressed up in a stunning bodycon outfit that left him totally flustered. He immediately complimented her, deciding that life was incredibly beautiful. Juin suggested they go to a specific spicy rice cake shop. Do-wan boldly claimed he had a high spice tolerance, eager to impress her. However, when the food arrived, he was horrified to discover it was a plate of mint chocolate spicy rice cakes. Juin admitted it was her absolute favorite specialty dish, but sadly noted that none of her friends could stomach the flavor. Determined not to disappoint her, Do-wan shoved a massive bite into his mouth. He forced a smile, claiming the bizarre combination was absolutely delicious and that he could eat it non-stop. Juin was overjoyed to finally find someone who shared her unique culinary tastes. Even though Do-wan was internally suffering and swallowing the food without even chewing. After enduring the meal, Juin took him to a quirky game cafe. They passionately played a high-stakes game of Jenga, with Juin proudly showing off her wood-stacking skills until the tower inevitably crashed. Next, they moved on to a lie detector toy. After some playful questions about their looks, Do-wan realized this was his golden opportunity. He nervously brought up the most important question, asking if she currently had a boyfriend. Juin remained silent for a tense moment before firmly answering yes. Do-wan felt his heart petrify into stone, internally cursing the system for giving him a fake dating reward. However, the machine buzzed violently, signaling that she was lying. Juin giggled gently, admitting she had set her eyes on the fake machine specifically to mess with him. A massive wave of relief washed over Do-wan as he thanked the heavens for the extra reward, ready to continue their perfect evening. The sun began to set on the bustling street, casting a warm glow over the rest of their date. Unbeknownst to them, the thief from earlier had reported back to his boss, a terrifying thug with a scarred face. The boss laughed at his trembling junior, promising to track down the bastard who beat him and exact brutal revenge. Oblivious to the impending danger, Do-wan and Juin continued their perfect evening. They stumbled upon a carnival-style stall featuring a childhood nail-pounding game, completely covered in stuffed animals. Juin eagerly urged him to play, and the stall owner promised a giant doll if he could drive the nail down in a single strike. Do-wan confidently stepped up, calculating the perfect angle and rotational force needed to win the prize for Juin. Just as he raised the hammer high above his head, the system ruthlessly interrupted his focus. A new, horrifying quest materialized on the notification board: use all his strength to hit the top of Juin's head with a hammer. The system offered a mysterious Dunyo map as a reward and set a strict 5-minute time limit. Do-wan was paralyzed with panic, staring at the heavy metal hammer and realizing he absolutely could not commit such an act of violence against Juin. His hands shook so violently that he slammed the hammer into the table instead of the nail. Juin looked at him with sincere concern, unaware of the twisted system penalty hanging over his head. With less than 3 minutes remaining, salvation arrived in the form of a loud promoter. A nearby event was celebrating the construction of a high-end royal castle building by hosting a plastic hammer game. The rules were simple: opponents played rock-paper-scissors, and the winner used a plastic hammer to strike the loser, who had to defend themselves with a pot. Do-wan instantly dragged Juin to the event. He won the first round of rock-paper-scissors. But Juin perfectly blocked his strike with the pot. With only 9 seconds left on the quest timer, he won the second round. Desperate, he screamed and swung the plastic toy directly onto the top of her head with all his might. The sheer force of the critical strike deformed the plastic hammer entirely, leaving the crowd and the event host completely speechless. Walking away from the crowd, Do-wan was consumed by guilt. However, instead of being angry, Juin burst into genuine, uncontrollable laughter. Admitting that it was the first time she had laughed that hard in her life and confirming that the plastic toy didn't hurt her at all. Their moment was cut short when her father called, requiring her to return to the PC bang for work. She leaned in close, whispering that they should play together again next time, leaving Do-wan blushing with happiness. His joy was instantly shattered when a heavy arm draped over his shoulder. A terrifying voice asked what kind of games he was playing. Do-wan turned to see the Scarface boss, who smugly announced that he had finally tracked down the bastard who beat his juniors. Realizing his mana was completely depleted to zero from his previous fights, Do-wan knew a direct confrontation would be disastrous. He tried to brush the thug off. But Scarface sadistically threatened to beat Do-wan to death and then drag his broken body to the PC bang so he could have his way with Jun. The threat triggered an immediate battle quest. Do-wan launched a preemptive strike. But Scarface effortlessly countered, mocking him for being a weak brat. The thug slipped on a pair of bare iron knuckles, the scraping metal echoing ominously in the dark street. As Scarface lunged, Do-wan desperately reached for the broken plastic hammer handle he had kept from the event. The system instantly activated his Weapon Master passive skill, which drastically increased his combat ability and negated mana costs whenever he faced an armed opponent. Do-wan swung the plastic handle like a steel rod, striking Scarface's chin and following up with a barrage that sent the massive thug flying. Scarface was completely bewildered by the sheer force of the toy. However, during the chaotic brawl, the hollow plastic handle shattered completely. The system immediately deactivated the Weapon Master skill, leaving Do-wan defenseless. Scarface capitalized on the opening, unleashing a brutal combination of iron-fisted punches to Do-wan's face and stomach, bringing the boy to his knees in agony. Bleeding and desperate, Do-wan realized he needed another weapon. With lightning speed, he unbuckled his heavy leather belt. The Weapon Master skill flared back to life. As Scarface charged in for the kill, Do-wan whipped the belt with incredible precision, disarming the thug and launching him into the air with a magnificent spin. The heavy impact knocked Scarface unconscious, successfully completing the final request of the night. Exhausted and battered, Do-wan dragged himself back to his apartment. He reflected on Scarface's cynical worldview about kindness bringing only suffering, wondering how his late father would have answered such a bleak statement. Pushing the dark thoughts aside, he checked his hard-earned rewards. He utilized 5 bronze keys to permanently boost his agility and defense stats. He then inspected the hidden reward earned from hitting Jun with the hammer, the Dunyo map. The map displayed the location of a real-world dungeon hidden within the high-end Royal Castle apartment complex that was currently under construction. The system recommended a party of at least 2 people and set a 5-day countdown until the dungeon officially opened. Terrified by the prospect of a high-difficulty raid, he attempted to cancel the quest. But the system threatened severe penalties. Realizing he needed a strong teammate, he approached Haenan Unsung at school the next day. However, Unsung flatly refused the invitation, reminding Do-wan that he was not a pawn to be controlled and explicitly stating he was already busy on the day the dungeon was set to open. Left without his strongest ally, Do-wan was forced to figure out another way to survive the impending raid. And that's where we leave it. If you made it this far, do me a favor and hit subscribe, like and share this story for your friends to enjoy because the next episode picks up right where this cliffhanger drops. Drop a comment on what you think happens next, and I'll see you in the next one.